Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, the things you desire just stay one step out of reach? Like you're doing everything you're supposed to, writing affirmations, setting goals, pushing yourself. But something unseen keeps getting in the way. Maybe you've even whispered to the universe, "What am I doing wrong?" Here's the truth they never told you. The universe is not responding to your actions, it's responding to your vibration, not to your words, but to the frequency your emotions are radiating every second of the day. You don't attract favor by asking for it. You attract it by being it. Think about that. You've been taught to hustle, to force, to chase. But what if I told you that the more you chase something, the more you signal its absence, and the more you signal absence, the more life reflects that very lack back at you. It's not because you're unworthy. It's because you're misaligned. The universe isn't a wish-granting genie. It's a mirror. And mirrors don't give, they reflect. If your internal world is filled with fear, doubt, and desperation, your external world will be too. Not because you're cursed, but because you're broadcasting that energy into the field of reality, and reality is simply responding like a loyal echo. Let that settle in. You're not failing, you're just tuned to the wrong frequency. And here's the part that changes everything. You can change your frequency at will. You're not a victim of your energy, you are the emitter of it. You are the signal tower. You are the source. You see, everything in the universe is energy. Everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, even your memories. They all carry vibrational weight. And each moment, you're transmitting a signal out into the universe, whether you're aware of it or not. That signal becomes your request. But here's the paradox. The universe doesn't respond to the signal of your desire, it responds to the signal of your state. If you desire love but feel unworthy of it, you're not attracting love, you're attracting more evidence of unworthiness. If you desire abundance but feel scarcity every time you open your bank account, the frequency you're transmitting is lack. So life gives you more to match it. That's not punishment, that's law, the law of vibration. And here's where everything changes for you. Because once you understand this, once you embody this, you step out of struggle and into resonance. You become a vibrational match to your vision. And the moment you do, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect you. Favor doesn't arrive when you beg for it. It arrives when you broadcast it. So let me ask you something. What energy have you been broadcasting lately? When you think about your dream life, do you feel gratitude like it's already here? Or stress that it hasn't arrived yet? That one feeling, that one shift in tone, can change everything. This is why silence is so powerful. Because in silence, you're not overthinking. You're not begging. You're not negotiating with the universe. You're just being. And being is the most magnetic state there is. Stillness is not passive. It's divine alignment. The most powerful manifestation doesn't happen when you scream your intentions to the stars. It happens when your soul whispers yes. And it means it. That yes is your emotional signature. That yes is the frequency of favor. Now, I know you've been taught that if you want something, you need to go out and get it. Work hard, prove yourself, earn your worth. But what if I told you the exact opposite is true in the realm of energy? That the way to get what you want is to stop needing it, because needing is the energy of separation. And separation repels what you seek. You don't attract love by needing love. You attract love by being love. You don't attract abundance by obsessing over money. You attract abundance by becoming the kind of person who already feels secure, grateful, and open to receive. So the real question isn't, how do I get it? It's, who do I need to become to match it? And here's the magic. Once you embody the frequency of your desire, your external world has to reflect it. It doesn't have a choice. That's not spirituality, that's physics. You're not waiting for life to reward you. Life is waiting for you to align with what you've already asked for. It's done, it's here, but you can't see it until you become the version of you who's already living it. That version of you, the one who already has the relationship, the money, the peace, the purpose, that version already exists. They're not off in some distant future, they're living in a different frequency, right here, right now. And your job is to tune into it. Just like a radio station, the music you want is already playing, but you can't hear it until you adjust the dial. Your emotions are the dial. Your beliefs are the dial. Your self-concept is the dial. You want to shift your reality? Shift how you see yourself. Stop saying, I hope it happens. Start saying, I'm already in it. Stop waiting. Start embodying. Because here's what they won't tell you. You've already been manifesting every second of your life. The only question is, have you been doing it consciously or unconsciously? Most people walk through life unconsciously emitting fear, doubt, guilt, and unworthiness, and then they wonder why their reality feels heavy, stuck, or out of control. But not you, not anymore. Because now you understand something sacred, something powerful. You understand that you don't have to force the universe to bless you. You just have to become the person who feels blessed before the blessing ever shows up. And the moment you do, the blessing arrives. Not because you earned it, but because you aligned with it. You've been trained to believe in conditions. Once I get the thing, then I'll feel the emotion. But manifestation flips that completely. In this reality, it's feel the emotion and then the thing comes. It's not about effort. It's about energetic congruence. So if you want to know what you're about to attract, don't look at your vision board, don't look at your list of goals. Look at how you feel right now. That is your point of attraction. That is the emotional signature the universe is copying and pasting into your life. And if that emotion is rooted in lack, stress, or fear, even subtly, then you are telling the universe, this is what I believe in. Reflect this back to me. But when you shift into gratitude, not fake gratitude, not forced affirmation, but real, grounded, cellular-level gratitude for what is already coming, then you are no longer asking, you are receiving. The universe doesn't need your timeline. It needs your trust. And the moment you trust, you collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Time bends. Coincidences appear. Doors open without you touching the handle. That's the frequency of favor. Not begging, not striving, but knowing you were never meant to hustle for blessings. You were meant to remember you're the one who emits them. The universe doesn't pick favorites. It mirrors frequencies. Favor isn't given, it's echoed. And once you truly understand that, the way you move through life changes. You stop chasing. You stop waiting. You stop explaining yourself. Then you start embodying. That's what embodiment really means. It means you walk, speak, breathe, and respond as if the version of you who already has it all is the one showing up today. And here's the secret. When you do that, life has no choice but to match it. Because life is not responding to what you want. It's responding to what you believe. If you believe you are loved, you'll start noticing evidence of love everywhere. If you believe you are abundant, you'll start seeing opportunities in the most unexpected places. And if you believe you are guided, protected, and divinely supported, the entire universe will conspire to prove you right. This is not delusion. This is alignment. This is the sacred technology of being human. Your inner world shapes the outer one, always. Without exception. You've already seen this in your own life. Think back to a time when you were feeling completely confident, completely open. Didn't things just flow? People responded to you differently. Ideas clicked. Things lined up. That wasn't luck. That was resonance. And the same is true in reverse. When you felt anxious, afraid, unsure of yourself, the world around you reflected that too. Miscommunications, delays, frustration. Again, not punishment, just reflection. You're not broken. You're broadcasting. And if that's true, then all you need to do is change the broadcast. That's where your power lives, not in controlling the world, but in tuning your own frequency. Because when your vibration shifts, reality has no choice but to follow. You've been conditioned to believe change takes time, but vibrationally, change happens in an instant. The moment you decide, fully, emotionally, energetically, that something is true for you, the entire field around you begins to rearrange itself, not based on what you want, but based on what you feel as true. So don't ask, how do I make it happen? Ask, what would it feel like if it were already done? Sit with that. Close your eyes. Breathe into it. Feel the relief, the joy, the clarity of knowing it's already yours. That feeling is the magnet. That feeling is the shift. Most people never do this. They keep waiting for reality to change before they change how they feel. But you're doing it in reverse. And that's where the magic begins. Because this is the great secret, hidden in plain sight. You don't create your reality with effort. You create it with emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. It's the living, breathing evidence of your vibration. It's the paintbrush you use to color your life. So let me ask you something personal. What emotional state have you been living in lately? Worry? Doubt? Hope? Be honest with yourself. Hope may seem innocent, but it's often a mask for uncertainty. It says, I want this, but I don't believe it's here yet. Hope is a bridge. Faith is a frequency. When you move from hope to knowing, the shift is palpable. You're no longer chasing, you're aligning. That's where the stillness comes in. That's where the silence becomes sacred. Because in that space of inner stillness, you don't just believe, you remember. You remember who you are. You remember what you're made of. You remember that the same intelligence that breathes your lungs, beats your heart, spins the planets and grows the trees, is flowing through you right now. And it doesn't need your panic, it needs your presence. You are not here to beg reality to cooperate. You are here to merge with it. And merging doesn't happen through force, it happens through frequency. So drop the scripts, drop the plans, drop the timelines and conditions. Instead, ask yourself this one question every morning. What does alignment feel like today? And then live from that. Speak from that. Decide from that, even if the world around you hasn't caught up yet, especially if it hasn't. Because the moment you shift internally, the world must follow. It has no choice. That's not a theory. That's law. You are not here to prove anything to anyone. You are not here to convince life to love you. You are here to remember that you already are what you seek. You are the source. You are the vibration. You are the favor. Now it's time to emit it like never before. You don't need to get louder. You need to get clearer. Clarity is magnetic. Certainty is sacred. And the universe doesn't hesitate with someone who no longer hesitates within themselves. This is why emotional alignment is more powerful than action, because action taken from fear only creates more resistance. But action taken from embodiment, that quiet confidence, that inner knowing, it moves mountains without force. You've seen this. You've felt it. When you're desperate, even the most well-planned move falls apart. But when you're calm, aligned, rooted in the belief that what you want is already yours, even the smallest gesture opens impossible doors. That's not coincidence. You're not waiting for life to bless you. Life is waiting for you to finally emit the signal that says, I remember who I am. Because right now most people are living from the wrong end of the equation. They think, once my reality changes, I'll change how I feel. But it's the other way around. Once you change how you feel, your reality begins to shift around you. You are not reacting to the world is reacting to you. The universe isn't checking your vision board, it's checking your frequency. So if you want to see something different, feel something different first. Not pretend, not perform, feel. Feel it so deeply that your nervous system begins to accept it as real, because once your subconscious accepts something as true, your external world will align itself to match it. Every time. The ancient mystics knew this. So did the modern masters. Neville Goddard called it living in the end. Not just thinking about your desired outcome, but actually dwelling in it, breathing it, wearing it like a second skin. When you imagine your desire as already done and feel the emotional reality of it, you collapse time. You step into that reality vibrationally, and then physical reality catches up. Because it always does. That's why favor is not a future event. Favor is a present frequency. If you wait for your environment to confirm your worth, you'll wait forever. But if you become the embodiment of your worth, your environment transforms to mirror it. It's not magic. It's mathematics. It's resonance. It's law. So let me ask you something, Ryan. What version of yourself have you been resisting? What desire have you been holding at arm's length because some part of you doesn't believe you deserve it? Or worse, doesn't believe you are it? Because here's the spiritual truth. There is no separation between you and the life you desire. Only vibration, only state, and the state is always a choice. It's a decision. It's a moment where you drop the old narrative, I'm not enough, I'm not ready, I don't know how, and you replace it with the most radical decision you've ever made. I'm aligned now. I'm already the one. I'm done pretending I'm not. That one decision shifts the frequency of your entire life. And here's what happens when you shift. People treat you differently. Not because they've changed, but because your vibration no longer gives them permission to treat you the way they used to. Opportunities begin to chase you, not because you started hustling more, but because your inner magnet got activated. The room feels different when you walk in, not because you learned some new trick, but because your energy is clean, congruent, and fully claimed. That's what divine favor feels like. It feels like reality is finally recognizing you, but in truth, it's you who finally recognized yourself. And once you do, the universe has no choice but to follow suit. Because this is the cosmic mirror. The universe will never reflect something back to you that you don't believe about yourself. You can say the affirmations, you can write the goals, you can burn the sage and meditate all day, but if your dominant emotional state is still rooted in fear, unworthiness, or scarcity, your results will be too. Not because you're being punished, but because the universe is neutral. It doesn't play favorites. It reflects frequencies. So if you're not getting what you want, ask yourself, what frequency am I living in? Not thinking in. Living in. Because your life isn't responding to your thoughts, it's responding to your emotional baseline. You can't fake this. You can shift it, but you can't fake it. And the moment you stop pretending and start aligning, you step into a version of life that feels so effortless it almost feels surreal. Things just start clicking. You get phone calls you weren't expecting. The right words come at the right time. You find yourself in the right place, meeting the right people, feeling like reality is conspiring on your behalf. Because it is. Because now you are. You've stopped resisting, you've stopped separating yourself from what you want, and in that surrender, your power ignites. So let this be your new baseline. You are not here to beg for blessings, you are here to embody the vibration of a life that is already blessed. You are not here to fight reality, you are here to vibrate in such alignment that reality can't help but respond. You are not here to fix yourself, you are here to remember yourself, to remember that you are energy, you are vibration, you are divine, and everything you want already exists. You don't need to earn it, you just need to match it. Have you ever looked around at your life and wondered why certain patterns keep repeating themselves? Why you attract the same kind of relationships, the same disappointments, the same limitations, no matter how many times you try to start over? Here's the part. They don't teach in school. Life doesn't happen to you. Life happens from you. Your outer world is nothing more than a projection of your inner state. It is a mirror, and not a kind mirror, not a cruel one either, just a faithful one that cannot lie. It reflects your self-concept, your beliefs, your expectations, and your unresolved emotions. Whatever lives within you will eventually live around you. It's not personal, it's principle. This is the law of reflection. Everything outside of you is echoing something inside of you. That's why you can change your entire life without changing a single external condition. Change the inner pattern, and the mirror has to follow. Imagine this for a moment. Let's say you wake up every morning feeling not good enough. It's subtle, you don't even say it out loud, but the feeling is there, humming in the background like static. So you show up to your job and no one quite listens to your ideas. You go out with friends and you feel invisible in the group. You try to manifest more money, but every opportunity slips through your fingers. You think life is rejecting you. But in truth, it's reflecting you. You are emitting the frequency of unworthiness, and reality, being a neutral servant, rearranges itself to affirm your belief. But now imagine this. One morning, you wake up, and instead of rushing into your usual routine, you pause. You breathe. You look in the mirror. And instead of seeing flaws, you say to yourself, I am enough, exactly as I am. You feel it, not as an affirmation, but as a decision, as a truth. You walk differently that day. Your voice carries a different tone. You look people in the eye with calm, quiet confidence, and then something strange happens. Your co-workers start paying attention. Your phone rings with an unexpected offer. Someone compliments you out of nowhere. You start to feel seen, heard, supported. That's not magic. That's a mirror. You shifted what you believe about yourself, and reality, being the faithful echo that it is, mirrored it right back. You didn't have to convince anyone. You didn't have to hustle. You didn't have to force. You just became the version of you that life had no choice but to respond to. This is the miracle you've been waiting for. It's not outside you. It never was. It's in your emotional climate, your belief system, your inner dialogue. Every thought you repeat, every feeling you entertain, every identity you embody becomes a seed, and life grows it, whether you want it to or not. So, if you don't like the harvest, don't curse the field. Change the seed. It's so simple, but most people miss it. They keep running from mirror to mirror, trying to change the reflection, not realizing that all real change begins with the reflector, not the reflection. You don't fix a bad haircut by yelling at the mirror, you fix it at the source. And the same goes for your reality. If your relationships feel toxic, ask what part of you still believes that love must come with pain. If you feel unseen, ask what part of you is still hiding. If you feel stuck, ask what belief is holding your feet in concrete. These aren't surface-level questions. These are soul questions. And when you start answering them honestly, reality will shift to honor your honesty. Because it always does. The law of reflection has no bias. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor, spiritual or skeptical. It only reflects. It can't do anything else. This is why you must stop waiting for life to change. Life is waiting for you to change. And you don't have to change all at once. Just shift one belief, one tone, one emotion. Even something as small as gratitude can cause ripples in the mirror. Not performative gratitude. Real, quiet gratitude for being, for knowing, for breathing, for remembering. You've already seen what resistance creates. Now it's time to see what resonance creates. Because when you stop resisting what you are and start resonating with what you desire, the mirror softens. Reality begins to flow. You find yourself in alignment, not because everything is perfect, but because you are. You're no longer reacting to the reflection. you're shaping it. And in that shift, you become powerful in a way that effort could never replicate. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to attract, but because you've become what you used to chase. This is your power. This is the essence of energetic manifestation, not just thinking positive thought, not just visualizing, but becoming the version of yourself that life cannot ignore, that life must bend around, that life wants to reflect. So let me remind you of something sacred. If you want your life to change, don't fight the mirror. Be the change it reflects. Because once you change your inner world, your outer world has no choice, no hesitation, no delay. It must respond, and when that happens, it will feel like magic. But it's not. It's you. It was always you. You've been taught to speak your desires out loud, to say the right words, repeat the right affirmations, chant the right mantras. But words are not the language of the universe. Emotion is. The universe doesn't listen to your mouth. It listens to your field. It reads your emotional signature. It responds not to what you say, but to what you mean, to what you feel, to what you live. So when you say, "I am abundant," but deep down you feel fear every time you check your bank account, the universe doesn't hear your words. It hears your frequency, and it responds in kind. You cannot lie to energy. You can only align with it, or not. This is why two people can say the exact same thing but get two very different results. One is transmitting truth. The other is broadcasting contradiction. The universe is not fooled. It is a vibrational ledger, keeping perfect records. Not of what you request, but of what you resonate. Emotion is the new currency. Not hope, not hustle, emotion. Every emotion carries a frequency. Every frequency signals a level of consciousness, and every level of consciousness builds your reality. This isn't spiritual poetry. This is energetic law. Dr. David Hawkins mapped it out in what's called the map of consciousness. Think of it as a vibrational spectrum of human emotion. At the bottom you find shame, guilt, apathy. Their frequencies are so low they barely move energy. These states are heavy, sticky. They attract stagnation, depression, confusion. Then comes fear, desire, anger, slightly more energy but still rooted in resistance. These emotions tend to attract chaos and imbalance, not because they're evil, but because they vibrate in dissonance with peace. Above that, neutrality, courage, willingness, acceptance. These are the entry points to alignment. These are the emotional spaces where manifestation becomes possible. Then comes love, gratitude, joy, peace. These are high frequencies, light, expansive, magnetic. They don't beg life for miracles, they become the miracle. And at the top, enlightenment, pure consciousness, the ultimate flow state, where duality dissolves and everything you once chased becomes simply what is. Now listen carefully. This scale isn't a hierarchy of judgment. It's a spectrum of power. The higher your emotional frequency, the more you co-create consciously. The lower your frequency, the more you create reactively. And you're always creating, whether you're aware of it or not. So right now, ask yourself, what am I transmitting? Not, what are you wishing for? Not, what are you working toward? What are you emotionally broadcasting into the field of reality right now? Because whatever that signal is, that's what the universe is matching. It has no bias, no favorites, no filters. It reflects you exactly as you are. But if you're vibrating from love, peace, and gratitude, even without the physical evidence yet, then you're already abundant. You're already in favor. You've already won. But if you're vibrating from lack, fear, or waiting, then you're already in separation. And the mirror has no choice but to reflect that. This is why awareness is everything. Because most people don't even realize they're broadcasting lack. They say, why isn't it working? Why hasn't it arrived? And in that question, the signal is already clear. I'm not there yet. So the universe responds, okay, you're not there yet. It's not personal, it's precise. That's why emotional frequency is the new spiritual economy. If you want to receive more, you have to emit differently. Because in this vibrational universe, everything you give emotionally is what you spend energetically. And what you spend determines what you attract back. This isn't about faking positivity, that's emotional fraud. And the universe doesn't deal in counterfeits. It's about being real with yourself, facing your frequency, owning your emotional state, and choosing again and again to rise. You don't need to jump from despair to ecstasy in one breath. That's not sustainable. That's not honest. But if you can reach one level higher, if you can move from hopelessness to curiosity, from fear to neutrality, from anger to willingness, you've changed your frequency, and that's everything. Because each shift, even the smallest one, sends a new signal into the field. And every new signal creates new possibilities. You want more favor in your life, more love, more peace, more ease, then give the universe something new to mirror. Because when your frequency changes, the people, the places, the opportunities around you have to recalibrate. They can't help it. They're not in control. You are. So don't just say it, feel it. Don't just want it, emit it. Don't just try to manifest it, become it. And you'll notice something remarkable. The things you used to chase start arriving not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped vibrating in opposition to them. You finally tuned in. You finally became emotionally congruent. And when your internal state aligns with your external vision, the divide dissolves. You collapse time. You attract effortlessly. You live in flow. That's the power of emotional frequency. That's the real wealth. Because in a world obsessed with appearances, the universe only sees vibration, and yours is speaking louder than your voice ever could. You might be wondering, okay, I understand the law, I get that everything is energy, but how do I actually shift my frequency in the middle of a stressful day? When life is loud, when fear creeps in, when doubt gets the best of me, what then? Here's the truth you've been waiting for. Shifting doesn't take time. It takes decision. And, no, it doesn't have to be hard. Alignment is your natural state. Resistance is the illusion. The real work isn't in effort, it's in remembrance. And the fastest way back to your center is through the practice of emotional recalibration. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked tools you already have, emotional anchoring. Think of a moment in your life when you felt completely free, loved, empowered, aligned. Maybe it was the sun hitting your face on a quiet morning. Maybe it was hearing someone say, "I believe in you." Maybe it was that spontaneous laughter that came from your soul, not your mind. Now pause. Go there. Feel that moment in your body. The temperature, the colors, the breath in your chest. That's not just memory. That's vibrational access. Every time you revisit that state emotionally, even if the moment is long gone, you bring its frequency back into the present. And that frequency shifts your now, right now. You've just changed timelines. This is emotional anchoring. It's not about running from where you are, it's about remembering a version of yourself that already holds the energy of what you desire, and then choosing to become that again. Another powerful recalibration tool, identity shifting. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest who you are. So ask yourself, who is the version of me that already has what I desire? How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they think? Start moving like them. Start deciding like them. Don't wait for the outcome to prove the identity. Let the identity lead the outcome. This isn't delusion. This is alignment. If you keep living from the frequency of the old version of you, the one who doubts, delays, and disconnects, then the universe has no choice but to mirror that back. But the moment you step into a new state of being, even if your environment hasn't caught up yet, everything begins to shift. That's how power works. That's how energy works. And it starts with you. And here's where it gets even deeper. Every emotional block you carry, every time you feel stuck, reactive, or afraid, it's not just mindset, it's memory, buried emotion, unresolved energy from a younger version of you who didn't feel safe, seen, or supported. And that version? That's your inner child. You don't evolve by ignoring them. You evolve by integrating them. Right now, inside of you lives the 5-year-old who was told they were too much, the 9-year-old who was ridiculed for dreaming big, the 14-year-old who started hiding because the world felt too loud, too cruel, too overwhelming. They're not gone. They're waiting to be heard. And the moment you turn inward, and instead of silencing them, you say, I see you, I love you, you're safe with me now, you reclaim your power. Because you stop manifesting from their fear and start creating from your wholeness. Your inner child doesn't need to run your life, but they do need to feel held in it. And that act alone of turning inward and loving yourself at the root is one of the most magnetic frequencies you can ever emit. Now, if you want a moment of full alignment, of total recalibration, let me guide you to the seat of favor. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose. Hold. Breathe out through your mouth. And imagine this. You're sitting in a throne, but it's not made of gold or stone. It's made of light. It's pulsing with energy shaped perfectly for you, because it is you. It's your truest state. The you that lacks nothing, that fears nothing, that asks for nothing. Because they already are everything. Feel yourself seated there, not slouched, not small, but upright, aware, powerful, still. Notice the silence. Notice how in this space there is no chasing, no trying, there is only knowing. And in that knowing, you radiate favor. You're not demanding it, you're not hoping for it, you are it. Everything you desire is drawn to you, not because you've proven yourself, but because you've remembered yourself. Stay here for a moment longer, let this version of you lock into place. Breathe. Now open your eyes. You've just sat in the seat of favor, and even if your environment still looks the same, you are not the same. You've shifted, you've aligned. Because here's the final key to all of this. Letting go is stronger than forcing. Trying to force a manifestation is like pushing a river upstream. It exhausts you, it depletes you, and it ultimately delays what you want most. But surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's the art of releasing the grip and trusting the alignment. It says, I don't need to chase because I've already become. And in that state, the universe rushes to meet you. Favor doesn't respond to panic, it responds to presence. It doesn't follow effort, it follows emotion. And when your emotion is calm, centered, surrendered, and radiant, you move from being a seeker to a source. You no longer beg for life to shift, you embody the shift, and life can't help but follow. Let's get real for a moment. There's a trap so subtle, so deceptive that most people fall into it without ever realizing what's happening. It's the need to be seen, to be approved of, to be validated by something or someone outside of you. And while it might look like ambition on the surface, underneath, it's lack dressed in disguise. Because when you strive for something outside of you to tell you who you are, you're telling the universe that you haven't fully claimed that identity yet, that you don't own it. And in this vibrational universe, that signal matters more than anything. The moment you look outside yourself for proof, you activate the vibration of not having it. And that frequency is what gets mirrored back. So you try harder, you perform better, you achieve more, and yet, somehow, fulfillment keeps slipping, just out of reach. Not because you're broken, but because you're broadcasting the vibration of seeking. And seeking is a declaration to the universe that you haven't found it yet. So the universe says, okay, let's give you more things to seek. That's the loop. And the only way out is in. Because no amount of external validation can replace the power of internal embodiment. When you are it, when you believe it, when you own it so deeply that you no longer need the world to confirm it, that's when the world starts echoing it everywhere you go. Not because you demanded it, but because you became undeniable. This is the mirror effect at its most powerful. What you no longer need to prove, the universe begins to reflect without hesitation. Why? Because certainty is the highest frequency. You don't chase a reflection. You stand still and let the mirror catch up. And that begins with one sacred truth. Your self-concept is your spiritual magnet. Who you believe yourself to be, not in words, but in emotional truth, is the blueprint of your reality. If deep down you believe you're not worthy of love, abundance, or peace, no amount of goal setting will override that frequency. Because your self-concept isn't just a thought, it's an emission, it's a broadcast. And the universe listens to that far more than any action you take. So the real work is not in doing more, it's in becoming different. Ask yourself, who do I believe I am right now? Then listen to the answer your nervous system gives you. Do you feel open or tight, relaxed or restless? That answer tells you everything. Because your nervous system doesn't lie. It's the tuning fork of your vibration. And if it's vibrating in survival, no amount of manifestation strategy will override that signal. You must shift from the inside. And here's where we look to the wisdom of those who truly understood this power. Franz Bardon, the forgotten mystic, the magician who didn't teach tricks but transformation. Bardon taught that the highest form of magic wasn't in words, or rituals, or spells whispered at midnight. It was in silence. He said silence was the most potent force in the spiritual arsenal, not the absence of sound, but the presence of internal certainty. The magician, he taught, doesn't prove. They don't boast. They know. And in that knowing, reality bends. Because silence, in its purest form, is the vibration of mastery. You don't need to speak when you're anchored in truth. You don't need to prove when you've embodied the state. And that silence, internal, settled, certain, is louder than 1,000 affirmations shouted into the void. It says, without words, I no longer chase, I attract. I no longer strive, I allow. You see, Bardon understood something that modern minds have forgotten. Power is not in noise. It's in alignment. It's in walking through the world with no need to convince it of who you are, because you've already convinced yourself. And that conviction, that silence, that still, immovable certainty, that's what the universe listens to. That's what makes doors open with no explanation. That's what makes the phone ring, the contract arrive, the synchronicity unfold. Because when your internal world becomes unshakable, your external world stops testing you. It starts aligning with you. That's the difference between the seeker and the source. The seeker waits for proof to believe. The source believes and becomes the proof. You've been conditioned to believe that the world must go first, that the result must come before the confidence, but it's the other way around. The confidence comes first, the identity comes first, the energy comes first, and from that frequency, everything follows. So if you're tired of striving, if you're exhausted from chasing, if you're done needing life to validate you, then stop asking for permission. Start broadcasting your truth in silence, with certainty, with no need for applause. Because in that stillness, you become magnetic, unmistakable, unstoppable. And in that moment, the universe bows to reflect the one who finally remembered. You never needed proof. You were always the mirror. There's a shift that happens when you finally stop chasing, when you no longer see abundance as something you must earn, or love as something you must find, or peace as something you must work toward. It's the moment you realize you're not here to receive energy. You are here to be it. You don't attract abundance by running after it. You become abundance and watch as life rushes to meet your frequency. You don't attract favor by begging for it. You emit favor. You breathe it, you walk it, you radiate it, and the universe, like a cosmic mirror, delivers the reflection with mathematical precision. Because once you understand this, once you feel it in your bones, you stop acting like a character in someone else's play. You become the author. This is the shift from unconscious participant to conscious creator. Most people live in reaction. They respond to the weather, to their bank balance, to other people's moods, to external conditions that were never meant to define them. They say things like, "Once I get the job, then I'll feel secure. Once I meet the right person, then I'll feel loved. Once I heal completely, then I'll feel whole." But all of those are conditions. They bind your power to future events. They make your state of being dependent on outcomes. And dependence is not alignment. Dependence is the root of energetic delay. Because the moment you say, "I'll feel it when," you've postponed your power. You've told the universe, "I don't have it yet." And the universe, without judgment, reflects that truth right back. But the conscious creator, they flip the script. They say, "I'm not waiting for security, I am security. I'm not waiting for love, I am the source of it. I'm not waiting to feel whole, I already am." They emitted first. And that one decision, that shift from delay to embodiment, breaks the illusion of separation. You begin to live from the inside out. This is the secret of all spiritual technology. Not spells, not tools, not techniques, but vibrational embodiment. The conscious decision to occupy the energy of your desired reality now. It's not about faking it. It's about choosing it. Choosing to tune your body, your breath, your thoughts, your posture, your language, your stillness, to the version of reality you're already aligned with in your heart. Because here's the quantum truth. Every version of you already exists. The healed you, the wealthy you, the loved and radiant and fully expressed you, that frequency is already encoded into the field. You don't need to create it. You only need to tune to it. Just like a radio, you don't invent the music. You just change the dial. And when you dial in the right emotion, the song begins to play. This is how life really works. It's not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you are and letting what matches that version come find you. So ask yourself, am I broadcasting the frequency of someone who already has what I want? Or am I leaking energy into waiting, hoping, needing? Because hope is not a strategy. Hope is the energy of distance. But embodiment? Embodiment is immediate. It lives in the now. It carries no delay. It walks into the room before you do. It's the feeling people can't explain, but they feel it when you speak. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need anyone's permission to begin living from this place. You don't need proof. You don't need a sign. You don't need to check with the world to see if you're ready. You only need to decide. I'm not searching anymore. I'm sourcing now. because that's who you've been all along. Not the student of power, not the seeker of truth, but the embodiment of both. And the moment you let go of trying to make something happen, and instead allow yourself to be it, everything shifts. You stop manifesting from separation, you start creating from oneness. You realize there was never anything missing, only vibrations you hadn't yet chosen to inhabit. You were never meant to chase the light. You are the light. You are the signal. You are the source. And the world? It rearranges itself in devotion to your frequency, not because you demanded it, but because you finally remembered who you are. So let it echo now. You're not here to get love. You're here to be love. You're not here to collect power. You're here to embody it. You're not here to find peace. You are the home peace lives in. And when you live from that truth, not in words, but in energy, you become magnetic. Reality bends. Time collapses. Favor flows, not as a reward for effort, but as a mirror to your embodiment. And in that embodiment, you need nothing, because you've remembered that you already are everything. Let's slow this down and talk about what's blocking the favor you've been trying to attract. Because it's not that you're unworthy, it's not that you're doing something wrong. It's that for most people there's an invisible contradiction living in their vibration, one they don't even realize they're broadcasting. It's called emotional incongruence. You say yes with your words, but deep down your body is still holding a no. You write, "I am abundant" on your journal page, but your nervous system still flinches every time a bill arrives. You declare, "I'm ready for love," but inside you're still bracing for betrayal. The universe doesn't respond to your affirmations. It responds to your alignment. And if there's a split between what you say and what you feel, the signal becomes cloudy, muddled, incoherent. And incoherence doesn't manifest favor, it manifests friction. This is one of the most common blocks on the spiritual path, trying to force new outcomes on top of unhealed energy, trying to manifest abundance over a foundation of lack, trying to call in a soulmate while your heart still trembles from abandonment, trying to visualize success while carrying subconscious beliefs that say, "I'll just lose it anyway." That's not manifestation, that's bypassing. And the universe? It's too precise for bypassing. It will never give you what your vibration hasn't integrated. Because favor isn't just an outcome, it's a frequency. And that frequency can't rise when you're still carrying shame, fear, or unworthiness in your emotional body. So if you've been doing the work and still feel blocked, don't ask, "What else do I need to do?" Ask, "What haven't I fully felt yet?" Because healing is manifestation, integration is elevation. And when you give yourself permission to meet those parts of you that still feel unseen, unheard, unheld, something incredible happens. The resistance dissolves, the static clears, and your signal sharpens into something the universe can finally respond to. Favor doesn't require perfection, but it does require coherence. Your energy needs to agree with itself. Which brings us to another block that most people don't realize they're addicted to. Needing. Need energy is the fastest way to repel what you want. Because underneath every need is a vibration of lack. Think about it. When you say, "I need money," what are you really saying? You're saying it's not here. When you say, "I need love," you're saying, "I am not whole without it." And when you broadcast lack, the universe says, "Oh, this is the frequency, let's reflect more of that." Need becomes a magnetic push away from what you're asking for. It's like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. But when you let go, when you soften, when you shift into the energy of having, of being, of trusting, the water pools naturally in your palm. This is the paradox. You receive more when you stop needing it. You attract love when you become love. You receive money when you stop fearing its absence. You align with favor when you realize it was never something you had to ask for. It's something you activate. And you activate it by becoming the emotional match to it, regardless of your current circumstances. Now, let's talk about another hidden block, and this one might surprise you. It's over-visualizing. Sounds strange, right? We've been taught that visualization is the holy grail of manifestation, but here's the truth. If your visualization isn't paired with emotional alignment, it becomes counterproductive. It becomes a fantasy that reminds your subconscious mind that you're not there yet. You imagine the dream life. You feel a rush of hope, but the moment it's over, you crash back into your old identity, and the vibration of not there yet becomes stronger than the image you just conjured. Visualization without embodiment is a form of spiritual procrastination. You see the reality, but you never step into it. You rehearse it, but you don't become it, and so it stays distant, like a movie you can watch but never touch. Real manifestation is not about living in your imagination. It's about using the imagination to anchor a new emotional baseline in your body. If you see it, but don't feel it, it's just a picture. But if you see it and feel it, if you rehearse the feeling until it becomes second nature, now you've changed your frequency. And now the universe listens. Because now, you're not asking for the reality. You're living as if it's already yours. That's the secret they don't tell you. Favor is not waiting on some cloud in the sky. It's waiting on a shift in your vibration. And the moment your body believes what your mind is imagining, the moment your emotions agree with your desires, the moment your subconscious is no longer arguing with your affirmations, the mirror becomes clear, the favor flows, and you stop wondering when it will arrive, because you've already become it. But let's make this real, because understanding the law of vibration is one thing, but living it, moment to moment, that's where the transformation happens. So here's your blueprint, simple, potent, designed to recalibrate your entire frequency in just 3 days, because your energy doesn't need years to change. It needs consistency. It needs intention. It needs you showing up fully, without the story of who you've been. Ready? This is your 3-day alignment reset. Let's start with the mornings, because the state you wake up in becomes the foundation for your entire day. Every morning, before your feet touch the ground, you anchor your vibration. You don't reach for your phone. You reach for your frequency. Close your eyes, take one deep breath into your belly, and then ask yourself one question. If I already had everything I desired, how would I feel right now? Don't try to force an answer. Let it rise naturally. Is it peace? Is it joy? Is it confidence? Now embody that feeling. For 60 seconds, fully, with your breath, with your posture, with your being. That's not a warm-up, that is the alignment. Because your vibration begins not with what you do, but with who you decide to be when you wake up. And when you begin your day already tuned to the frequency of favor, your reality has no choice but to match it. Next, daily identity immersion. Throughout your day, you're going to wear your desired vibration like clothing. You're going to walk like the version of you who's already living in full alignment, not in pretense, in presence. You're not faking confidence, you're accessing it. You're not pretending to be successful. You're inhabiting the version of you who already is and allowing the world to adjust accordingly. And here's how you do it. Choose a core frequency that reflects your highest self. One word, maybe it's unshakable, maybe it's magnetic, maybe it's free. Now make it your internal mantra for the day. Every decision you make, every room you walk into, every challenge you face, ask yourself, how would this version of me respond? Then respond that way. And as you do, something subtle but powerful begins to happen. Your nervous system starts to accept this identity as normal, not a fantasy, not a stretch, but your baseline. You begin to collapse the space between who you were and who you've decided to be. That's not psychology. That's energetic entrainment. Your body tunes to your chosen state, and the external world follows. Now, let's talk about the evenings, because how you end your day is just as powerful as how you begin it. Every night, you're going to practice a surrender ritual, because as much as we love to control outcomes, the truth is, favor flows fastest when we release our grip. So here's what you do. Before bed, sit in silence. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply, and then say these words, not as a chant, not as a performance, but as a truth you're ready to embody. I release all need to control. I surrender the how. I rest in the knowing that what is mine is already on its way. Let your shoulders drop. Let your nervous system relax. Let your field soften. This is not giving up. This is getting out of the way. Because once you've aligned with the vibration of your desire during the day, you don't need to micromanage the outcome at night. You just need to rest. You need to let the universe orchestrate what you've already tuned to. This is what most people miss. They align during the day, but then undo it with anxiety in the evening. They visualize in the morning and then question everything by sunset. That's not manifestation. That's energetic tug of war. But when you commit to a daily practice of alignment in the morning, embodiment during the day, and surrender at night, something miraculous begins to happen. You enter flow. You stop trying to make life happen. You become life in motion, and reality responds. You begin to notice synchronicities, tiny confirmations from the universe saying, yes, we hear you. You start seeing doors open, some expected, some you couldn't have planned if you tried. Because when your energy becomes consistent, the field organizes around it. That's the power of this blueprint. It's not a list of things to accomplish. It's a sacred rhythm, a new way of being, one that activates your favor, one that magnetizes your reality. And you don't need to wait until next month, or next Monday, or some imaginary future version of you who has it all together. You can begin right now. You can wake up tomorrow and transmit favor instead of waiting for it. You can walk today as if you're already the version of you used to pray for. Because the truth is, they were never out of reach. They were always inside you, waiting to be chosen, lived, embodied, and now they are. You've heard the truth throughout this journey, but now it's time for something deeper, not just understanding it, becoming it. You are not a seeker, you are a signal. Read that again. You're not searching for truth. You are the truth vibrating in human form. You're not chasing power, you're a living field of creative intelligence radiating into form. You're not asking the universe for favor. You are the frequency of favor. Every time you return to this knowing, your reality shifts. Not through effort, through resonance. The old model taught you to hustle harder, chase faster, push longer. But that model was born in fear, born in the belief that you are separate from what you see. And that belief? It's the lie that keeps the entire illusion alive. Because once you awaken to your nature, not as a body begging for miracles, but as a soul broadcasting them, everything changes. This is not philosophy, this is your liberation. You are not here to live by default, echoing someone else's system, someone else's rules, someone else's limits. You are the frequency, the origin, the source. You don't need to wait for permission to align. You don't need to wait for evidence to believe. You don't need to wait for signs to become. You already are. And the moment you own that, fully, without apology, without delay, the mirror of your life starts reflecting a new world, not a future version, not a maybe someday, but now, right now. So let this moment be sacred. Let this be the turning point. Not tomorrow, not when things feel easier. Now, today. You stop asking. Today you become. You become the one who no longer waits for alignment, but radiates it. You become the one who no longer hopes for favor, but embodies it. You become the one who no longer negotiates with the universe, because you are the universe, in human skin, remembering its own light. And in this remembering, you awaken. You reclaim your authority. You release the need to prove. And you step into the rarest kind of power there is, silent, steady, and unmistakably sovereign. So as this transmission comes to an end, breathe. Not just as a reflex, but as a declaration. Each breath is an anchor. Each breath is an agreement that you no longer live from the old vibration. You've upgraded. You've realigned. You've returned to truth. Let this truth echo through your cells now. You are not a seeker. You are a signal, a field of living intelligence, a radiant current of favor and life. Life is just a reflection of how boldly you remember this. Now go. Not with urgency, but with certainty. The kind that walks in alignment and watches the world shift to greet it. The kind that speaks little, but vibrates loudly. The kind that knows you've already arrived. And you'll never forget it again.